Hey everybody, welcome back to Sunrise on the Hill, your morning pulse on politics. Today, a long-awaited decision is expected to be made that will shape where the U.S. economy goes from here.
Yeah, Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell is set to announce whether the central bank will cut the key interest rate for the first time in 9 months. Of course, this comes after relentless pressure from President Trump and signs of a cooling job market. News Nation's Alicia Nieves is outside the New York Federal Reserve for us this morning. So, Alicia, we know the markets are expecting a rate cut today, but how much of a cut should we expect to see?
Yeah, good morning, Corey and Hillary. That's kind of the million-dollar question that many are going to mull over for the next couple of hours until we get the actual rate decision. That'll come 2 p.m. Eastern time, and then at 2:30 p.m. we're going to hear from Fed Chair Powell about the rationale behind that decision. As you pointed out a moment ago, markets pretty much 100% factoring in we get a rate cut, about a 96% probability according to the CME FedWatch tool, which is really kind of closely watched for the probability when it comes to rate cuts. 96% chance that we see a 0.25% rate cut, and about a 4% chance we get a more aggressive 0.5% rate cut. Nonetheless, this will potentially be the first rate cut of 2025, as you pointed out, something the president has been calling for since getting into office. But just on the optimism over the potential rate cut, again, the very likelihood that we get one today, we've seen parts of the economy already start to get a boost. The housing market getting a boost. Right now, 30-year mortgages at a 3-year low, closer to 6% than 7%, which is what we saw the high so far this year. Right now, the average 30-year home loan is about 6.13%. That just lowering in the last 24 hours. And according to experts, a cut today and a potential continued cut for the Fed when it comes to rates, that could continue to help the housing market, bring mortgage rates down lower, but also just for borrowers across the board, APRs on credit cards, those could start coming down. Car loans, if you're in the market for one or you have an adjustable rate car loan, that could also start to come down, not necessarily overnight, but over the course of the next couple of weeks. And then for companies, this is really critical, going to help prop up earnings and profit margins, which then allows companies to reinvest those profits into growth, which is going to mean more jobs and help boost the labor market. Corey, Hillary.
Alicia, the president's been aggressive with working to gain a majority on the Fed. What is the latest on that effort of his?
Yeah, the president's kind of aggression to gain a majority is to have influence on the Fed and to have the more aggressive rate cuts that he has been calling for. And as you guys know, over the last week, he has had some success there, right? Stephen Murin has been confirmed on the Board of Governors. That happening just Monday in time for this vote that's going to happen today. Murin likely going to be a part of the camp that's going to be pushing for a more aggressive rate cut. He's going to be trying to sway some of the board of the FOMC voting member committee. He might have some chance with at least 2 members on the committee who were previously appointed by President Trump during his first term. That is Governor Waller and Governor Bowman. But as you see here on your screen, there are 12 members on this committee, and it's a majority rule. You still have, Fed Chair Powell on the committee, to the president's chagrin. And I'll point out really quickly, you've still got Lisa Cook, who the president recently tried to fire. But, based on her latest court ruling, she is still part of the FOMC, still a board of governors. She will have say in the decision today. She and Fed Chair Powell have been very prominent about being really closely tied to economic data. There is still some concern about inflation, which is why the markets are more modest when it comes to a rate cut today. Likely going to see a 0.25%, but we'll all know right around 2 o'clock and then hear from Fed Chair Powell at 2:30.
We are all waiting to see what happens today. Alicia, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Alicia.